Hi, I'm George Popi, and this is Digging In, a show where I make someone dinner and we talk about things. This week's guest is Lashan. He is an Australian travel vlogger and photographer. Let's dig in. What has been going on, Lashan?
Not much. Just been enjoying the city, doing doing my work, video editing.
Yeah.
This is my first proper fall, autumn. Like I've never.
Wait, you've never? Is Australia
We don't have that.
Really?
I mean, the trees, like some trees might go brown, but you don't get these intense reds, oranges.
Okay,
yellows.
now this explains why you were so excited to see the sunset in the fall colors.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. Like you started off as a photographer, if I'm correct, right?
Yes.
How do you get started in photography?
It's kind of like a fluke actually. Like I think I got into it. Well, I feel like I always had an interest in photography. It was always something. It's one of those things I always looked fondly upon, but never actually did it during high school. And then like I think at the end of first year uni, I got my first job, which was doing real estate. Like I'm doing marketing for a real estate company in Sydney.
Interesting.
So we just had, so basically it was pretty cool. Like you have like our office, a road, and then beach. And like that was my workplace.
That's not fair.
It's Sydney life, man. Like so for that job, they bought me a 700D, like 650D.
Yep.
And a like a 10 to 22 millimeter lens, ultra wide.
Yep.
And like it was technically theirs, but they let me take it home whenever I wanted, so I did.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I got into photography. And I just remember like the first week. I mean, like it was very intimidating at first. Like there's all these settings, and I have no idea what to do. And also like I'm like all the photos I take sort of represent the company, so I was kind of nervous, but like nerve-wracking. But the first week I just spent like just online, just looking up, researching what every single setting actually did. And then once I understood that, then I started getting the hang of it, and then you sort of just go through different stylistic phases until you develop
Something that you actually like.
Your
You can
taste.
see your taste, your style, how you shoot. Yeah, that's really cool. Then how the switch to video happened?
So I was like continuing to take photos, and like so I quit that job to go on exchange to Montreal here, and then went traveling to Europe for 3 months by myself. And I think halfway through that trip, I decided I was in Budapest, and I really hated my hostel. And like I think I made some friends like clubbing the night before, and I was about to like cut my 6-day stay at this hostel and leave. And I saw them again, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to come to this random lake in the middle of Hungary?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So we just like hopped in their car, and then we just started driving. But like I noticed there was two others, and I noticed the girl. She was I think she was a journalist. Yep. And I just noticed she was taking a lot of video, and like I was asking her about that, and she sort of explained it to me. Because before that, I didn't really think too much about capturing video, capturing moments or anything like that. But then I think after that little adventure, like she sent me all the videos, and I was just looking through it. And it was such a, I don't know, I just found it like a really, it was like a really I mean, it was like the most accurate representation of that memory. It was like the memory was like captured in its essence, and that's not something you can really do with photography. You can take a photo, but you can't really capture like the feeling, like the atmosphere you can sometimes, but like you sort of lose that over time. Like it's like over time you'll just like look back on these photos, they'll be good photos, but you'll like romanticize it. You won't think about like the other things that happened or anything like that.
Like what inspires you a lot of times? Like how do you get inspired?
What inspires me with photography?
Yeah. Or like, is there any photographers that you really look up to? Or
with photography, it really depends. Like I mean, there's a couple of people which I really admire on Instagram. Like in Sydney, one thing which I've noticed is kind of lacking in Montreal is like in Sydney there's a huge Instagram community.
Really?
Very vibrant. Like just like we have like events. There's events like every month. And like tons and tons of like there's a huge group of them which have like, I don't know, 30k plus to 100k, like whatever, like, and like all of them are really, really talented people. Like one of them is just like Find Honor, and she does this amazing sort of makes a really good photography overlaid with sort of digital artwork,
Oh wow.
which is really
Yeah,
cool.
I can imagine.
And she like heavily curates her feed, so you have this gradient of colors which sort of goes up, which is really awesome. And then
That's so much detail. That's
I know
incredible.
it takes a
Yeah.
lot of time. I've tried curating my own feed, and like there's a lot of, I know there's way more. I mean, you have to think about it way more, and also just it sort of limits how much you post, just because you have to plan it out and sort of deliberate and everything.
Now, what made you decide to pick Canada of all places to visit for your year abroad?
2 years.
2 years abroad.
Well, I think I came on exchange here.
Yeah.
So I think that was like the driving factor. So I came here in what I'm pretty sure was the coldest winter you had in like a decade.
Probably.
It was minus 40 degrees on New Year's Day. And like, I don't know, I just fell in love with it. Like to be fair, I had the worst first week you could possibly imagine. But then after that, it was good. Just like
The summer of the city's alive.
the city is crazy alive because like just there's so much going on. It's more the way I sort of described it is like on any given weekend you can go ask your friend, oh, you don't ask your friend, oh hey, are you going to the festival?
Yeah.
You ask, oh hey, which festival are you going to? Because there's so many options.
Yeah.
And it's just like overall, I think like one time there was like something happening at Place des Arts, and also some sort of like a circus festival and a fireworks festival and like everything.
There's festivals everywhere. I
Yeah.
think it's just like everyone like has the winter just cooped up, and then they decide, okay, well it's summer, so we gotta do everything, and that's all the time, and it's just like no one has any kind of restraint.
Pretty much.
Like let's do all the festivals all together at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's been the biggest difference between living in Sydney and living here?
Apart from the obvious things like the weather and just like the general geography, like in Sydney, surrounded by water, we have beaches and beaches and beaches, and like that's sort of life. Like that's what you do. Like my morning run, my like daily morning run would be 5Ks from Coogee Beach to Bondi Beach, and I would go through 5 different beaches.
That's really so basically a beach every kilometer.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah,
That's
and
pretty
then
solid,
then
you
I
know.
end up at Bondi Beach. I work out at the outdoor gym at Bondi Beach, and then like I do this in the middle. I do this in the middle of the week, and then I go home. Like, cause like the way to work, like just in terms of quality, like if you really aggressively go for it, you can have like a really sweet life, like work-life balance, as long as you don't like overwork yourself.
Yeah, I hear the coffee's incredible in Australia. I don't understand why.
I mean, like
But,
the thing is, like people get confused because like we don't grow our own beans or anything. It's just that we the whole brewing process, we nail it. Like it's just,
I know people who go to Australia to learn barista skills.
yeah, because we do it really well. Like it's
Yeah.
the way. I mean, like the best way to sort of illustrate like how passionate we are about coffee is like, so Starbucks tried to set up shop in Australia in like 2002 or something. They like set up stores all over the country, and they got run out of the country by like 2009 or something.
Wow.
Like basically there was for like I think I think all of them shut down except like 1 or 2 in like every city, because like they were just like in the main touristy areas, because a lot of Americans would go.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, because they like their Starbucks.
It's one of those things. Yeah, I feel weird when people just want to have the same thing from home when they travel.
Yeah,
It's like, why would you have something that you literally can have any day of the week when you're home?
I don't get.
You're
Yeah,
on vacation.
it makes no sense to me. I think it's just that they're lazy.
Yeah. Just like, it's weird to record yourself a little bit, and then you
I'm used to that.
I know.
This is easier
Yeah.
to do than when I'm by myself.
By yourself, I know.
With the camera.
There's a reason why I do this way more now.
This is easier.
Yeah, because it's just conversation.
Yeah. Like I screw up less. Like.
Because there's someone there to catch you. It's like doing improv. I don't know if you've ever
Never.
learned. Okay. Well, I did improv for a while, about 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just, you kind of get used to the idea that even if you have nothing to say, you have to trust that someone on your like scene is going to catch you and help you out.
Okay.
And it's like very trusting, but it's also really cool to think like, hey, you're a team. You can trust other people, and like they're gonna catch you when you fall.
Yeah. Sort of. I did this video at the start of 2016. It was sort of like a conceptual vlog, I guess. So basically, what we did was, it was me in Sydney, Australia, my friend who I met on exchange in Mexico, and I would film my morning, and she would film her evening and night.
Okay.
And and then we'd also like talk about like moving away from Montreal and stuff like that. But like basically both would film our days.
Yeah.
And put together, it covers the course of a day. But both parts were filmed at the same time because of the time zone.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
So we did that. Like she's actually here in Montreal right now, which is cool. But like when I was talking about Montreal sort of thing and moving back to Sydney, I tried to ad-lib it, and I was just like in the middle of a park with the camera, talking to the camera, and I just went on and on and on. I just sort of lost track of what I was talking about, and I was like, this is going nowhere. I just wrote something on my phone, and I just like put my sunglasses on so no one could see my eyes, and I just read off the.
I know it's so Casey Neistat, but there's
it works.
I know.
That's why there's a reason why you do it.
Does it feel like your life has been kind of split with living in different places, or is it just like it just keeps on adding to everything that you're doing?
It's sort of split. It's kind of like when I first came to Montreal and then I left, it very much felt like I had two different lives. Like my Montreal life, my Montreal friends, and then Sydney. And it was like it's very jarring at first, just because I changed a lot when I was on exchange. Like,
okay. How so?
Well, because the way what exchange is you're like the situation you're thrown into is you're on the other side of the world. You know no one knows you. You have the freedom to be whoever you want. Like you have the complete freedom to change who you are as a person. So if you want, you can be a complete asshole to every person in this city, in this country.
Please tell me that was not you.
No, but you have that. You can be
that's a lot of power.
You can be a complete dick to everybody you meet.
I'm concerned that this is a thought that you had.
Yeah, for 4 months, and then at the end of those 4 months, you can leave, and it's like nothing ever happened, and you can continue your life, or you can just sort of be who you become the person who you want to be without anyone sort of judging you for it, because no one knows who you are, right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of what I did. I just sort of became more of myself. Just sort of.
That's really nice.
And when you're being yourself, and you can end up finding friends who accept you for that version of you, and then you make really, really close friends through that. So that, and then that sort of solidifies that sort of personality, and you sort of cling on to that. It's like you want to stay that person, but then when you come back to Sydney, you are completely, people think you're a completely different person, right?
The people give you weird looks and ask you what's wrong, if you're feeling under the weather.
It's more just your friends just know just notice you're very different. So when I quit my job to go on exchange, I gave back the camera that they lent me. So I bought a DSLR with the 2 kit lenses.
Yeah.
And I went on the way to Montreal. I stopped in New York for a week, and I spent a day using the 1855, and I was like, I need my lens. I need it. So
yeah.
I went to B&H and I got a 10-22, and I was very, very happy.
Of course.
As soon as I had my baby back. But I stuck with that the entire time. There was only, and I remember when I was traveling through Europe, there was only maybe 2 or 3 moments where I was looking at it, I was looking at something and thinking, I wish I had my zoom lens.
Yeah.
I could see a perfect shot, but it was only this big.
Yeah. Where do you want to end up in 5 years? Classic interview question.
Far out, man.
But where do you want to go?
I don't know, it's my sort of my ambitions are sort of messed up at the moment, because it's more my immediate goal is to stay in Montreal and like transition from my current working holiday visa to PR and stay here permanently.
Yeah.
Do not go back to Sydney. And like, so that's my goal, but it's also like, I also like really want to travel and stuff, but I'm really wary of traveling right now because I know like it'll affect my language skills. Like I went back to Australia in June to graduate for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And my French nosedived.
Yeah, of course.
Over 2 weeks. It was really good before, then it nosedived, and it took like a month and a half to get back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like traveling to a non-French speaking country will like decimate my language skills, and that's something I need to focus on.
Yeah, interesting correlation.
Yeah. So I moved to Sydney, and I was like, oh my God, I have so much freedom. This is amazing. This city is new and exciting and awesome. And then I left to go to Montreal, and I'm like, this, like after like the crappy first week, I was like, this is incredible. I just grew, like everything just got better. And I became more myself, and it was like, it felt less restricted, which is great. And I came back to Sydney, I was like, this sucks. It's like, why am I here? I was like, I really, like, as soon as I got back to Sydney, I was like, I need to move back to Montreal, like as soon as possible.
Well, I'm interested because like you've said this now twice, where you feel more yourself and more free and whatever. Yeah. Like in that vein, what do you think about Montreal or being far away has given you that? Or what is that feeling exactly? Just because like I'm trying to, because I kind of get it because I also like I moved away from London, Ontario, which is you know right now I think 360,000 people. Yeah. It's suburbs, like that is it. And I need to get out of it as fast as possible. Yeah. Because the people who stay there, the farthest I ever get is Toronto. Yeah. That's kind of southwestern Ontario is where you live and die. Yeah. So clearly not as far as, you know, Sydney, well, Newcastle to Montreal, but I kind of get it. But like, yeah, just wanted to.
I think it's just the mentality of people. Like, I mean, in Newcastle, it's still a town. It's a city, but it's a town, really. And like a lot of people who grow up in Newcastle, like stay in Newcastle, and like, people who like I've talked to a friend who lives there, like a good friend who lives there, and like she was complaining about like some people who get really defensive about like, so oh, like why would you leave? Like it's so like what's wrong with you? Like why don't you stay here and like support?
It's so great.
No,
yeah. I get that.
It's dead. Like it's but
yeah, it's sad how like bad urban planning can affect a city that much.
Yeah, it can. Like I mean, yeah, the thing with Sydney is more like, there was no urban planning. So like, I mean, it was settled by like the British and like convicts and stuff. So like they arrived into like the Rock, Sydney Cove. Yeah. And they're like, oh, we're here. Let's start building. So they just like, they had no plan. They just sort of like
they just started.
But Melbourne was settled by the army. And they had a plan of like grids. So like basically the city is like this, Melbourne is a series of interlocking grids. And at the end of each line of the grid, there's like a landmark. Or something to help you navigate.
That's smart.
Yeah. And like if the city's really dense because of the grid as well, and like you have the city center and then like all the little like suburbs, like sort of like small, like if you had like Plateau and then like Mile End and like Hochelaga and NDG sort of just surrounding in their own separate grids like this. And like it's really easy to get around and stuff because
it's planned well.
It's planned really well. And also like just in terms of transport, the transport is free in the city center.
That's nuts.
Free trams just all the time in that city center. It's all this big area.
Yeah. That is a great thing.
Yeah.
More cities should do that, but yeah. Wow. What's your usual coffee order?
Huh?
What's your go-to coffee order?
I mean, here it's just the cheapest thing because it's bad. But like it's like an espresso or something. But in Australia, it's normally like a latte.
Okay, understand.
Yeah.
Because like for me, I always go to espresso.
Okay. Best thing if you can find. I mean, like in Montreal, I don't know if too many people make it or know what it is. But like in Sydney, I always get it's a dirty chai. Huh. So it's like a chai latte but with an espresso shot.
Not bad.
Tastes incredible.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. So that's definitely my go-to in Sydney.
Dirty chai.
Yeah. Yeah, like sometimes people
Yeah.
like think you're like messing with them or like trying to say something super disgusting or weird, but you just put an espresso shot in my coffee, please. Like,
Please. I'm begging you here. Yeah, interesting. I've never heard of a dirt chai, but I'll have to try it at some point.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that, or like, I mean, a ristretto is also good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our show. This week we're produced and edited by me. Our theme song is by Ashmeta, and our logo is by Isabella Lee. Special thanks to our guest Lashan. Check out some of his work at lashan.co or find him on Instagram at lashan_r. If you want to listen to the full uncut version, definitely check it out on the iTunes podcast store or Google Play. Otherwise, till next week, have a good one.